Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our continuing coverage of our 7th annual Super Smash TV tournament here on GG Speedruns. Tonight, we have got an elimination showdown between our very own MrDino023 and Firebroth. Hi, everyone. I'm LOZ Cards Fan 23, and joining me are my commentator partners, TapatioJ and Fearonburgundy. Very, very intriguing matchup here tonight between our 21st seed Firebroth and the 13th seed MrDino. Should be a great matchup.
It certainly should, and I mean, this is a pair of sub-6 PB runners, so you know that there's potential for dynamics here, and we are looking forward to it. Taps?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know what's more surprising about this one, the fact that MrDino is seeded number 13th and Firebroth 21, or that these guys are just 16 seconds apart. I mean, you're talking about 8 seeds, 8 spaces away right there, but they're really, really close as far as the PB. So looking forward to some really good races coming up.
Absolutely. I've turned both runners loose here, so we should be underway very shortly. So again, this is an elimination match. The winner will move on to take on the winner of the 9th seed Hefeman 82 and the 17th seed Jackamus Wedge in the 4th round of the second chance bracket. The loser will be out of the tournament. We are going to be down to our final 13 at the end of it all.
We are underway here in Arena 1. They both have their manipulations ready to go.
All right, so it looks like both are trying to keep control of the middle of the room. Is that a perfect nuke for Dino? It is, and that's going to get him the whole shot because I think Firebroth would have gotten it otherwise. It'll be a mid-39 versus a low to mid-40. Less than a second lead. Negligible, as you would say there, Bergs.
I most certainly would, so I will. Negligible.
All right, so it's time for collect power-ups. And look at this. They both get an opening orb here in collect power-ups. How about that?
Ooh, you'd love to see that. A little tougher spot for Firebroth to get up to, up in the corner there, but first drop orb, it doesn't get much better.
All right, they'd like to get something to complement that orb, a spreader, a rocket. It is a spreader for Firebroth. Dino is going to be done with the room first with a 78. That's a very, very good time going into Eat My Shrapnel. Firebroth with an 83, roughly 4.5 second lead we're talking about going into Eat My Shrapnel. 18 of the Mr. Shrapnel dudes that must be taken down. A maximum of 4 can be on the screen at any given point. After that, you're starting to bleed time. Nice, a Razor Shield pickup that'll help Mr. Dino get control of the middle, take care of the foot soldiers. Firebroth really hasn't gotten anything to complement that orb, so he's had to scramble just a little bit, but as long as he's got the orb intact, shouldn't be too much of a problem.
Nice move there on Mr. Dino's part, just a delayed grab of that Razor Shield. Had he gone for it right away, a majority of it would have been taken out by the shrapnel, as intentionally done there to finish the room.
Look at this. So Firebroth gained about 1.5 seconds, just a better room there, better finish than Mr. Dino. So it's a 3-second lead now only for Dino going into total carnage, but nothing to rule. Grenades on the feet of Sabotage there. Good dodge of the shrapnel by Firebroth. He's got a spreader waiting for him. He'll pick it up. Another grenade for Mr. Dino, so he's not really getting anything. An invulnerability for Firebroth, then a creep. These drops are absolutely garbage for our very own Mr. Dino. Now Firebroth getting a Razor Shield. That's what you want to see.
Total garbage. I loathe it. Wait, that's not how that goes.
It's pretty close, though, to how we feel about this game sometimes. And, yeah, you know, Dino, you're able to do just enough. He's a good enough player to where he can do it with just the orb. But would love to get some other weapons here, get that time, those time saves. Did keep the kill count up pretty well and kept that lead intact.
In fact, that lead is going to about double to around 6 seconds. Yeah, absolutely right. The firing lanes for Mr. Dino were better, despite the fact that Firebroth got the Razor Shield first. It's a 6-second lead. And it does look like Mr. Dino has about 2/3 of a clip of spreader left. Firebroth has nothing to take with him to tank trouble. So this opening drop going to be even bigger for Firebroth. But let's see what Mr. Dino gets first. It's more spreader, so he's going to get a refill on that spreader. One gunner down. Firebroth's first drop. Rockets, that's what you want to see. Both gunners down.
Just like that, instantly down. That's what you want to do. He got in a great position, too. He barely had to take a step or two right there just to get to those rockets. Really opener. Great opener, and then unfortunate, the shrapnel catch.
Oh, what a time for that. That's going to increase the lead there for Mr. Down unless he sees a replacement orb, and he does see a replacement orb on his feet. Firebroth wasn't ready for that, but luckily, no foot soldiers at 2 o'clock.
That's now, I think, 5 spreaders for Mr. Dino here in tank trouble. Same sum for Mutoid Man. My goodness.
Yeah, you know what that means. He's not going to get any spreaders in the Mutoid Man fight, and Firebroth is going to keep pace despite that death. It's still a 6-second lead for Mr. Dino. Both of them are going to have the opportunity to get that ball buster. This is a good race so far.
Oh, yes. I mean, sub 420 entry into Mutoid Man. You'll always take that in a race if you Firebroth. So has to be feeling pretty good about it. And all it takes is one better drop, usually, in this run, in this boss fight.
Tell you what, they're level pegging. They both got the ball buster, but the weapon quality advantage Dino. But then he gets picked off by the gunners, so he will not get the refill on the lobber. Both gunners down for Firebroth, so an opportunity, a big opportunity now with that spurt, but he could get blocked. He goes away there.
Yeah, the situations that could have had, you know, he could have either parked on it, which is the worst thing. He could have just kind of sat still, which would have been great. He moved away, which isn't great, but lobbers on both sides doing the damage, getting that those arms popped and the chest popped for Firebroth.
Yeah, we got a glitch toy on Firebroth's side here, and yeah, nice pickup of the lobbers to keep the lead. Yeah, you don't want to take a death down. He's going to have to go for manuals here or play it safe. If he gets an invulnerability, though, instead it's going to be a lobber. They're both on the... No, it's a final form now for Firebroth. He's got a big lead right now. He won't be able to get to those lobbers, unfortunately, so he's going to need something. Lobbers, that'll definitely help. Penultimate form now for Mr. Dino. Still a 1-form lead for Firebroth. Things looking really good for Firebroth to take game number 1, picks up the rockets. This should do it, and it's a sub 6 for Firebroth in the opener. He's happy. He is pumped.
Yeah, you got to be. I mean, this isn't going to be far off his PB, just by a few seconds here. 5:55. Love to see it.
Yeah, absolutely, TapatioJ. Less than 3 seconds off of his PB, which was a 5:52. So that's a very, very good opener for the underdog, Firebroth. Very nice run. I'll tell you what, if he didn't take that death in tank trouble, of course, what could have the drops been in Mutoid Man? Could have been a PB, but still, a sub 6 in a tournament race. You'll love to see it. And guess what? Prince Leaf is on at Taps and Bergs. Remember how you said that there were like 5 spreaders for Mr. Denon saying, save some for Mutoid Man? That said, he's probably not going to get any. Well, guess what? Not even one spreader did Mr. Dino get in that Mutoid Man fight. They took him all away pre-Mutoid Man.
Even if I hadn't called it out, the game would have done the same thing. So I don't curse on that.
Well, there's a phrase I always like to say, the game knows. It doesn't matter what you would have said, Burgundy. You could have kept your mouth shut. You could have said all you want. Wouldn't have mattered. You're absolutely right.
People would have hoped for the latter, but that's usual with me. They hope I keep my mouth shut.
All right, so Firebroth taking first blood here in this 3rd round, second chance matchup. The Mr. Dino has had 3 very deep runs in the tournament since he has started taking participation in the Super Smash TV tournament. I believe 6th, 3rd, and 4th, respectively, in his 3 matchups. So right now, he is trailing 1-0. We'll see if our own Mr. Dino can tie things up, or if Firebroth, the underdog, can take a 2-0 lead. I'm going to get them counted down.
In the meanwhile, we're being told in chat here that there is a yet to be submitted and reviewed PB for Firebroth, 5:42 from yesterday, which would bump him up to, depending on the tenths and hundredths of a second, about 18th or 19th on the leaderboard from 27th.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, so congratulations there to Firebroth getting that PB of 5:42. We'll hopefully get that posted onto onto the speedrun.com leaderboard. All right, both runners are ready. Let's count them down.
And that just tightens things up, as that would make the PBs about 6 seconds apart between Firebroth and Mr. Dino.
All right, absolutely. So I have counted them down. We should be underway in just a few seconds.
Yeah, showing right there. I mean, Firebroth playing well as of late. Obviously, getting that PB, playing well above perhaps that initial seeding that he was given. And one thing, I mean, what was really impressive, I think what Leaf brought up in chat there, an incredible spreader there, manual spreader from Firebroth in that last one too. Not only getting the spreader drop, but being able to take advantage of it. That's going to be big in these runs, and able to do it there is Firebroth.
All right, so let's see what happens. Firebroth gonna have to dodge that grenade, and he does so successfully. A few more foot soldiers left to go, but once again, it is gonna be Mr. Dino with the hole shot, and a much bigger hole shot. Look at this, a mid-38 to a low 40, so a good room for Firebroth, but an immaculate opening room for Mr. Dino. He'll take that 2.5 lead. Any kind of advantage he can get, trailing 1-0. Firebroth getting opening vitamin R, back-to-back rocket drops now for Firebroth. I'm kind of surprised he would have picked it up now, but I think he's fishing for that orb, and he gets it. Will he complete the Holy Trinity? No.
Firebroth knew the lore. He had the knowledge. He's like, if I pick the rockets up right now, and it's not an optimal time typically, but then it gets the orb right after. I mean, who's to argue?
And because of that, it's a 1:17. We're talking maybe a half a second, if that.
A tight window for sure.
And good news for Dino, he gets an orb immediately to start Eat My Shrapnel, and rockets for Firebroth, so both of these runners should have no trouble keeping this room under control. I would imagine Mr. Dino is going to keep that negligible lead.
Yeah, pretty funny how they all lined up right there. Firebroth had the orb coming in, got the rockets as the first drop. Dino had the rockets coming in, gets the orb as the first drop. And then they all evened out, so pretty nicely done by both. They're going to keep this very tight coming out of the ring.
2 minutes flat for both, and yep, Mr. Dino keeping that negligible lead. Both of them with a 2-minute flat. Grenades on the feet for Firebroth. You never like to see it, but then they give him vitamin R to make up for it. But can he keep that orb intact? He can indeed. Very well played. Tough spot for the rockets there for Mr. Dino. He's able to pick it up without getting picked off.
I think Firebroth might have grabbed those grenades heading out of Eat My Shrapnel to be able to take care of that circle of enemies at the start. So smart move, and then utilizing the rockets to clear out the rest.
Oh, you may be right. Yeah, I did see the grenades. I didn't think he had picked them up, but he must have grabbed them at the last second before he left Eat My Shrapnel. So razor shield for Firebroth, so he's going to be able to keep control of that room. We may see a change in leadership. I think he's had better weapon quality than Mr. Dino, but has he had better firing lanes? You better believe he has. Look at this time, a 2:54 going into the bonus room. That's a really good time. Mr. Dino is now the one who is 6 seconds back going into the bonus room, as it's time for Taco Bell product placement with Taco Bell.
Gotta love that product placement. These two runners come out pretty much around the same time. Firebroth with that little bit of lead. See that first drop, and unfortunately gets some shoes to start out. See if Dino gets better. Ah, dude!
Where are my power-ups? And Firebroth loses his orb. A chance now for Mr. Dino to potentially take the lead here. Firebroth does take down the second gunner. Dino having to do a lot of dancing. Somehow, some way, great dancing to keep that orb intact. Vitamin R for Firebroth. I have no idea how Mr. Dino kept that orb clean. No way.
The orb are clearly one. He still keeps it going.
He loses it there, but man, that dancing there to keep it as alive as long as he possibly could there. Firebroth has still not seen a replacement. I have no idea he's going to have the lead. Vitamin R now for Mr. Dino, and a nuke to wait maybe to close out the room. And he's going to use it right now. Is that the end of the room? It is! Great time nuke there, and he'll take the lead now by 2.5 seconds. Neither player has the orb.
Yeah, very. I mean, Dino, it seemed like, yeah, maybe a little bit behind on the room all of a sudden, and then, yeah, that nuke just getting at the right moment. Oh, but
Oh,
look at this
man.
spreader drop for Firebroth. Oh, and another one for Dino!
Wow, they both get a spreader. Mr. Dino with more like the Telio approach. Firebroth just seeing it and taking that death. Both arms popping off. Firebroth getting full usage of that spreader. Dino cannot get to that lobber. It's back-to-back keys for Firebroth, though, and that's going to give Mr. Dino a chance to catch up a bit. Oh, and then gets zapped. And another empty drop for Firebroth. The game is taking it away. And a spreader for Dino. But will he be able to get to it? No, yes, he is.
Wow, second effort, just kept fighting. And he got to it, and that's a lot of damage. Gets some decent manuals in there too, and the head pop for Dino.
All right, a player 2 spreader, so Dino gonna have to go for the manual here. He'd love to see an invulnerability to finish off this fight. Instead, it's gonna be a lobber. Final form, he'll switch it up to the lobbers. Things looking good for Mr. Dino to equalize this match here. Potential sub 6 if he can land these shots. He'll switch it up. No, he's not going to switch it up. Is that enough to finish off Mutoid Man? No, it isn't. The grenade should be, though, and that's going to do it. It'll be a 6-minute flat for Mr. Dino. Great run, great comeback there, excellent drops, and he is going to equalize 1 game all.
Yeah, just over a 6-minute, but pretty much, I mean, 2 stellar runs back-to-back to win these races. Some great lobbers there from Mr. Dino finishing out and getting that spreader finally in the boss fight right there. Dino able to lock this up 1-1. We're to a best of 3, y'all.
Absolutely. So this is going to go at least 4. Firebroth trying to finish off Mutoid Man with the spreaders here. Is it going to be enough? Nope. He'll have to grab the lobber. A couple shots ought to do it. Just 1, of course. So, yep. Pretty, again, comparable times going into Mutoid Man, but Mr. Dino getting the really good RNG, and he'll knot up this match at 1 game apiece. So, no sweep this time around. You'll love to see it, folks.
Absolutely. You want to get that out of the way maybe in the first round when things are super lopsided, but after that, yeah, you want to see things go as close to the distance as possible. And yeah, Bryself noting in chat that the big swing room thus far has been tank trouble, and that has gone Mr. Dino's way. Will that trend continue here in Game 3?
Doing well with the drops and obviously the dancing. I mean, he always had 2 just some of the best orb dancing that you'll see as far as avoiding those foot soldiers. Doing really well against the swarm. And then yeah, and I think at the end of that Mutoid fight, one of those interesting plays, he's right at the end of the lobbers and he gets that spreader drop, but it's right at the end. Knew better, just keep on unloading the lobbers if you're landing the shots, and he was landing just about every shot with the lobbers there, and he pretty much finished it out, just need a little bit of grenades after. That's a big difference. Sometimes those lobber shots, they'll rack up when you start missing them, so landing those shots is great for Dino. And here we go, game number 3.
Yep, absolutely. Bryce all pointing in chat that tank trouble. Mr. Dino has had the better tank trouble so far in this match. So we'll see if Firebroth can clean that up in game number 3. So we'll see what happens here. Mr. Dino's had the whole shot the first 2 games. We'll see if that stays true or if we're going to have a change. It is going to stay true. Mr. Dino will once again have the whole shot by roughly a second. Another solid time here. This will be a mid-39 to a low 40, 3/4 of a second lead. So 3 for 3 on whole shots for Mr. Dino so far.
Rocket on the feet for Firebroth, and just an invulnerability. There's a spreader for Mr. Dino.
Firebroth going to ride those rockets as long as he possibly can, but now he's got grenades in a very bad spot, so he'll ignore that. A nuke there for Mr. Dino, followed by a foot, so the drop's starting to really dry up now, but there's the orb for Firebroth. So he won't have to worry about that in Eat My Shrapnel, but Mr. Dino gets an orb of his own, and we have a change in leadership. The Rockets propelled him to about a 2.5 second lead there. Oh, man, oh, that swirl! Oh, Firebroth Firebroth wasn't expecting that, and he almost bought it.
Oh yeah, that was all sorts of sketchy. When it's able to just get around the corner, and some of those outer ones, they're swinging a little wildly. When it pops, they start flinging at you, and I've seen those take out some orbs. Very close cut right there for Firebroth, but able to get out there, and now has rockets, so we'll be able to just coast through this room. Same with Dino, but with the pea shooter.
Yeah, Dino will have to work a little bit harder than Firebroth will have to. Firebroth just has this one to take out, and he should be done. Oh, he didn't count it right. So it's a 2-second lead for Firebroth. It could have been a 3.5 second lead if he was counting it right. But nonetheless, he is going to have the advantage. Starting with the spreader is Mr. Dino, but Firebroth, a couple of gross drops, and Dino's now going to be the first one to get the Razor Shield here in Total Carnage, keeping control of the middle of that room. Firebroth getting absolutely nothing here. Dino, this keeps up, that lead could grow to double digits potentially.
Man, I'll tell you, I've never counted those shrapnel right. I just do it on feel now. There's no counting for me on those.
And some people can do it without counting. They just feel they know. And this, another empty drop, a key for Firebroth. Mr. Dino still has all of that Razor Shield left to go. He's definitely going to have the lead coming out of this room. The only question is how big of a lead. That is a dangerous spot for a spreader, and Firebroth's going to ignore it. I don't mind this decision here, but 3:02 is the time, and Firebroth, you know, has held his own. He has still lost time, but once again, it's 6 seconds. All 3 games going into the bonus room, gentlemen, the gap has been 6 seconds.
That's astounding, astonishing. I'm just impressed that Firebroth is able to do so much with so little. Those drops in Total Carnage were, goodness, they were emptier than my soul in the peak of COVID this past Saturday.
A nuke for Mr. Dino, but in an awful spot, so he's going to have to work for it and almost loses his orb, but is able to get it. One gunner. No!
What was that? Why did that purple, the purple, like, literally just lived the nuke right there? And yeah, it all just kind of crumbles down. This is TT in a nutshell.
Oh, absolutely. That guy was literally Neo, that purple shirt. Firebroth loses his orb, however, so they're both now no orb. And again, this is the room that has plagued Firebroth so far in this match, but he does get a replacement orb.
Yeah, with the spreader, now the Rockets should be able to maintain the center, and Dino getting that replacement orb, and Rockets himself. All right, here we go, and then losing it, but almost with the finish of the room. It's a shame, but should be able to get out with these Rockets pretty well. A little bit more, I suppose.
Yeah, this will be a tough one, but it is going to be Firebroth in the lead, so we do have a change in leadership, not by much. It's 1 second for Firebroth. 429 plays 430, and he'll have an opportunity for the ball buster. So this time, it was Firebroth who gained the time in tank trouble.
Ooh, first drop. Definitely favoring Dino there. Getting the lobbers. Is able to get in a position there. Oh, unfortunately going to lose the ball there, but going for the spreader is Firebroth, and then the invulnerability, of course.
Right as he gets run over, he doesn't recognize the invulnerability in time, and that's an opportunity lost for Firebroth. And of course, they give him another spreader, so he can't take the death. It's too far away. So advantage right now, indeed, to Mr. Dino. Firebroth getting some manuals in there. Gonna switch it up to lobbers, but it is a lead. And now a bigger lead coming up for Mr. Dino if he's not blocked. And he's not.
Given the clearance by Mutoid Man there, able to pop another arm. Glitchoid Man as well, chest pop. Gunner still up for Dino. See, yeah, we'll finish that off because no drop there.
Oh, but here's a chance for Firebroth, but he might be blocked. Will he get out of the way? He will get out of the way.
Oh, this is a huge one, and another spreader here. Firebroth has landed these manuals before, but that takes a shrapnel death right there.
Yeah, the shrapnel got him there, and that's a sabotage. And it's an empty drop. Final form now for Mr. Dino. It's looking good for Mr. Dino to take a 2-1 lead. We'll see, though. Next drop, final form for Firebroth. He's got the lobber. Mr. Dino has grenades. He's going to need one more drop at least. Firebroth switching up to rockets here. I don't know if these grenades are going to be enough for Mr. Dino. They are!
Oh, wow.
Oh, we're talking a 1.5 seconds probably.
Yeah, just barely 625 to 627. Super close right there. Game down.
Maybe.
Holy smoke, what a finish there. Mr. Dino, by about a second and a half, able to survive. Back and forth these two go. I said this was going to be a great match, and they have delivered so far, gentlemen.
And then some.
Yep. I was gonna say, even more than delivered. This is lining up to be an absolute slobber knocker, an absolute Donnybrook, potentially one of the matchups of the tourney right here. I'm liking this back and forth. It's first went to Firebroth, a couple back to Dino. Game 4. This is gonna be spicy because Firebroth, as you mentioned before, didn't get the whole shot initially, but had some advantages early on in this race. It slowly started to tilt back. Firebroth not getting some of the drops, especially in Total Carnage there. And yeah, as far as the finishing time, I think both these runners would expect to have to get better than the 6:25 potentially to get the win here. So very interesting race right there. Should be a phenomenal Game 4.
All right, we do have a prediction up for the lovable channel points, so go ahead and get them in the next minute and a half or so. That with your head not over it gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, both runners are ready. I'm going to count them down. Let's do this.
So it's going to come down to if Mr. Dino able to take this one, will take the set here and move on into the lower bracket, where I believe he'll be facing the loser of the Prince Leaf versus Aquas matchup in the upper bracket. So obviously,
Correct.
nothing but spicy matchups going forward, but I mean, you're talking about a couple absolute gamers up there. Gonna be a crazy match for the next one of these two coming up.
You know, after tonight, there's only going to be one more best of 5 matchup, because from here on out, after that, it's going to be nothing but best of 7. So you're going to get more chances to see these runners take down Mutoid Man, and who knows what kind of shenanigans we're going to see in the latter rounds of the tournament. And once again, for the 4th consecutive game, Mr. Dino's going to have the whole shot, not by much. Again, it's going to be about that second. I mean, practically the same kind of deficits that Firebroth has had going into this room more often than not. But the first drops are going to be very pivotal here for our runners. Let's see what we get. Grenades and a first drop orb. The favorites keep on getting shown upon by the game. RNG favoring the favorites, underwhelming the underdogs.
Yeah.
Boy, has Firebroth been underwhelmed, but as soon as you say that, here's an orb. You're gonna be able to get it.
Problem. How did he pick that up?
Wow!
That
game was just not letting him get to that orb, and somehow he squeezed that tiny little opening, knowing that the orb spawns at 2 o'clock. The only problem is he's about 12 seconds back.
Yeah, 12 seconds back, but with the utility, if you keep this thing healthy, you get some good drops. It does get the rockets as well. I mean, it shouldn't be a problem here going forward in Eat My Shrapnel. But yeah, Mr. Dino with the Razor on that side, not going to have a problem here losing the orb. So going to maintain that lead for Dino going through.
Oh, no question about it here. I mean, that was a heck of a grab there for Firebroth. I got to commend him for that. But unfortunately, just didn't get anything to complement, you know, the rest of that room. So it's a 2-minute flat for Mr. Dino. I would anticipate Firebroth's going to be about a 2:12. And an opening drop Razor Shield for Mr. Dino. Are you kidding me?
Oh, and some rockets to pour on top of that. It's looking good for Dino to start this Total Carnage.
My word, if that doesn't say game knows, I don't know what does, gentlemen. And Firebroth gets a grenade to start. Game, are you serious? If this was your channel, Burgundy, that would be an exclamation point GYB.
You're right about that.
Oh,
Bother.
Firebroth, that was a phenomenal job. Able to get into that upper right corner, being able to get that spreader, dodging all sorts of shrapnel and foot soldiers. Phenomenal job to keep that orb healthy for Firebroth.
I'm impressed by Firebroth's gameplay, but look at this time for Mr. Dino. It's a 2:48 dynamite. That's a hell of a pace.
That's a next level pace right there. That's starting to creep into some of the best times you're going to see going to the bonus room for sure.
And Firebroth's done nothing wrong, but he is more than 20 seconds back. He just has nothing, and then he loses the orb at the end of the room, and he is not happy about that. He is going to be now 26 seconds and an orb back of Mr. Dino, and I think the frustration's starting to seep in for Firebroth as Mr. Dino starts with a razor shield here in tank trouble.
I mean, you got to feel if you're Firebroth, you know you really can't drop things like that against someone like Mr. Dino, let alone Mr. Dino, like, playing to an incredible pace right now, so even more so.
I mean, Mr. Dino, he's not gotten anything to complement that orb, but Firebroth could be a minute back if he doesn't get good drops here. Rockets will help. Spreader for Mr. Dino. Another razor shield. 2 razor shields in tank trouble? What in the world?
The game just wants Dino to keep that orb healthy, and will be able to finish off, and has a spreader going into Mutoid Man. Ooh.
4 minutes flat going into the Mutoid Man fight. Mr. Dino's PB is 5:36. He gets a 95-second fight. That's a new PB.
Oh, clipped by the swirl, unfortunately. Gonna lose that orb, but
that might have been intentional because it looked like he wanted to go for the spreader strats to start the fight. He did get one form off before getting picked off. He will get this slobber, though.
That swirl might have just been conveniently
right.
placed.
I'll tell you what, Firebroth is able to keep damage controlled. Now, he's still 38 seconds back, don't get me wrong. And now Mr. Dino with another spreader and coming toward him as well.
Right into position, just lining up a meatball to knock it out of the park here to use. And another spreader.
He'll have to go manual on this one, but we could see final form. We could see PB. He will be able to get to those lobbers. We could see a PB here if he finishes this up really quickly. Final form now for Mr. Dino. If he finishes at about 5:21, 5:22, he will have the PB. He needs to land his lobbers. If he does, he will PB easily. Can he finish off the fight? He does!
He does.
PB, and this could be a 5-2X.
Hey, there we go. The fist pump from Dino. You love to see it. Oh, let's go. He's hyped. I love to see it. Let's go. And 5-2-9 for Mr. Dino. Let's go.
Because he was pumping his fist, but yeah, they'll go back and frame count it anyway. He knows.
Yeah, there's no question about it. That's a 5:29 right there. He just shattered his PB by about 7 seconds to put him on 11th place in the leaderboard. Congratulations to Mr. Dino. What a time.
These were phenomenal. Outside of game 3, where they had some mid 6-minute times right there, these guys were on fire tonight, both of them.
Bryce Hall pointing out in chat that that's tied for 7th place for the fastest tournament time ever of a 5:29. And Firebroth, nothing to sneeze at, about a 6:08. But when you're going up against a 5:29, there's just nothing you can do about it. GG to Mr. Dino. GG to Firebroth. What a match. But it is going to be Mr. Dino moving on to the 4th round of the second chance bracket. And it is the end of the line for Firebroth. But what a performance.